Robert. 11 o'clock. Here we are. We're back from recess, and we are on agenda item 40. Yes, we are. How do you like that? Okay, for possible action, any items from the 11 a.m. session the council staff and/or applicant wish to be stricken, table, withdrawn, held in abeyance to a future meeting may be brought forward and acted upon at this time. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have anything?
Madam Mayor, we have nothing right now.
All right, so we'll move on to agenda item 41. Items number 41 through 43 are on the consent agenda, considered to be routine and recommended for approval by the Department of Planning. Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda number 41 through 43?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve consent items number 41 through 43.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. And the motion carries because there are 5 of us here. All right, now we will move on to planning, correct? All right, items number 44 through 48. 44, GPA 75954, a request for a general plan amendment from DR Desert Rural Density Residential to SC Service Commercial. Number 45, ZON 75955, on a request for rezoning from RE Residence Estates C1 Limited Commercial. Number 46, VAR 76696, on a request for variance to allow 36 parking spaces or 65 are required. Number 47, VAR 76697, on a request for variance to allow a 10-foot residential adjacency setback where 75 feet is required. And number 48, SDR 76698, a request for a site development plan review for a proposed 7,632 square foot general retail building and a 1,400 square foot restaurant with drive-through lane with waivers to allow the building not to be oriented to the street frontage where such is required. A 5-foot landscape buffer along the north and east property lines where 8 feet is required, a 6-foot landscape buffer along the south property line where 8 feet is required, and a 10-foot landscape buffer along the west property line where 15 feet is required. Items number 44 and 45, the applicant owner is Gold LTRE, and on item numbers 46 through 48, the applicant owner is Gold LTRE LLC number 6 on 1.06 acres at 5445 North Rainbow Boulevard, RE Residence Estate Zone. Proposed C1 Limited Commercial. Planning Commission recommends approval on all items. Staff recommends approval on items number 44 and 45, denial on items 46 through 48. These are in Ward 4 with Councilman Anthony, or public hearings, which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present? Hello.
Yes, James Smith, 9159 West Flamingo, representing the applicant. We've held this item a couple times on abeyance to address the concerns with the neighbors and the staff. Our initial recommendation from the staff was that it was too intense. Since then, we've met with neighbors. We've reduced the site over a third of the square footage, trying to make it less intense. There was a lot of questions with this rear yard landscaping. We've gone from a 5-foot landscape to a 15-foot, all the way up to a 17.5-foot plus the 5-foot sidewalk, 20 feet from the property line. The neighbors were very okay with that. We were talking about the intense landscape buffer that would be back there. They thought that was a proper use for that. We've talked about this drive-through up front. We've got the speaker going out to Rainbow and the stacking in this position here with the berm. We've also limited the hours of use. I know that was a major concern for a lot of people. From 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're trying to go for a coffee type of drive-through use for this area here. In addition to that, we're just here to answer any other questions.
What is the beyond Rainbow? What is the major cross street?
It'd be Ann Road and Rainbow, just south of Ann Road.
Okay. Okay. Let's go first to Mr. Summerfield.
Madam Mayor, good morning. The subject site is in the Rainbow Boulevard North Corridor Plan and is part of the Ann and Rainbow section of that plan area. This intersection of Rainbow and Ann Road is a single anchor to this entire section of the corridor. This section of the corridor plan is primarily focused on future development because of its unique vehicular patterns and the large number of vacant parcels in this area. The Ann Rainbow section of the corridor plan does recommend commercial development near the intersection and on vacant parcels most accessible to the surrounding residential subdivisions. Considering the high volume of traffic on Rainbow Boulevard, which is a 100-foot primary arterial, and no other access to the subject site except from the boulevard, staff is supporting the requested change of land use designation and the associated rezoning application of this property. However, because of the variance applications and the waivers that have been requested, staff cannot support the proposed design of the site, as well as those requested deviations from both the parking, residential adjacency, and some of the on-site landscaping issues, as it demonstrates that the project is being overbuilt. As the applicant did mention, Planning Commission did put on the, a limitation on the operation for the drive-through piece of this project, and it is limited by current condition to 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And
To
with,
which you agree?
Yes,
You
that was
agree.
fine.
and that is all I have on this project, ma'am.
So it's more code-focused, or your objections?
Yeah, it's the fact that they need the variance for the parking, they need the variance for the residential adjacency, and then some of the deviations for on-site landscaping. They have, as the applicant mentioned, they have made adjustments since this was originally submitted to the planning department, but they do continue to have some deviations that currently are outside of code.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a public item, so is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard on any of these items 44 through 48? Hearing and seeing no one, let's go ahead and turn this over then. Any council comments, questions here? Let's turn it over to Councilman Anthony then, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Robert, one question. Didn't the parking space requirement get reduced? According to my notes here, the required parking spaces is not 65, it's 53. Is that correct, or?
Yeah.
That is, okay.
So, yes,
But he
Madam
still
Mayor,
needs
through
a
you,
variance.
yes, Councilman, so in the revisions that they made to the plans, it did reduce the parking requirement, which then therefore does reduce the amount of parking that they are deficient on the site.
Right.
Since this was noticed before those changes, and it's a reduction in what the deviation is, the header stands, but yes, it is a
Okay.
reduced deviation per the site plan.
All right. So, first of all, I want to commend you for you came up with your original project.
Right.
You met with the neighbors. They made a bunch of suggestions, and you responded to all of them. I mean, I really appreciate you doing that and working with the neighbors and changing your project to fit their concerns.
It was very important to us from the beginning.
Yep, and it does conform to that Rainbow Corridor study that we put together. I mean, we spent a lot of time on that a couple of years ago because this street here is going through a phase right now. So that study helped us decide what that street should look like from Ann Road to Rancho on Rainbow, and this fits in there. And I mean, you reduce the size of the project, the parking requirement, the landscaping, the drive-through, you spoke about that, the hours of operation. So thank you for doing this. I think it fits perfectly there. And Mayor, I'll ready make some motions when you're ready. Okay, so.
I think we're ready, let's
and
go.
Robert, you tell me if I need to add anything to my motion. So we're good on all of them? Okay, all right, then item number 44, I will make a motion to approve with all conditions.
Thank you. There's a motion on agenda item 44 for approval. Vote and motion carries. Number 45.
Make a motion to follow Planning Commission and staff's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
Thank you very much. There's a motion to approve agenda item 45, subject to all conditions. And I'm trying, but it's not letting. There you go. And that motion carries. Agenda item 46.
Make a motion to follow Planning Commission's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
Thank you. There's a motion so stated on 46 to approve. Please vote and please post. Motion carries. And on 47,
Make a motion to follow Planning Commission's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
thank you. And there's a motion on agenda item 47. Please vote and please post. Motion carries. And finally, on agenda item 48,
Motion to follow Planning Commission's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
thank you. Final motion to approve, subject to all conditions on agenda item 48. Please vote and please post. And that carries. So thank you, and thank you for your
Great.
work, obviously, with the residents, which we care about.
Okay, thanks very much.
Deeply. Okay, so now we're on to agenda items 49, 50, and 51. 49 is ZON 76993, and a request for rezoning from U undeveloped TC Town Center General Plan Designation TC Town Center. Number 50 SUP 76994, a request for a special use permit for high-density 25-plus dwelling units per acre, single use. And number 51 SDR 76995, a request for a site development plan review, proposed four-story, 334-unit multifamily residential development with waivers of the Town Center Urban Zone Development Standards. The applicant owner is El Capitan Partnership et al. On 9.19 acres south side of Deer Springs Way, approximately 250 feet west of Durango Drive. U undeveloped zone, TC Town Center General Plan Designation, proposed TC Town Center. On all items, the Planning Commission and staff recommend approval. These are in Ward 6 with Mayor Pro Tem Fiore. Our public hearings, which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. So why don't you go first?
Okay. Jennifer Lazovich, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive, here today representing Ovation. And with me in the audience is Alan Molaski and his team, if you have any questions for them. On the overhead, shows you the location of the property outlined in black. Here is Deer Springs Way, and here is Durango. We sit just to the west of Durango behind a commercial center. The proposed project that's before you is for a multifamily project that is in this orange color, as I can show you right here. Deer Springs is to the north. And this particular project, whenever Ovation puts a project forward, especially when they're adjacent to residences, they try to do the best they can in design before we submit to buffer the residents. And so part of that design, when we submitted, included a step up of the building. The residential homes are located here, and so what we did is the first portion of our project has a two-story component. Then the middle portion of our project has a three-story component, and then this portion has the four-story component. In this zoning category, the town center standards allow for a maximum height of 7 stories. Again, with this design, it goes 2, 3, and then a maximum height of 4 stories. We did have 2 voluntary neighborhood meetings. We did one before the Planning Commission, and then we did a second one between the Planning Commission and the City Council. And there are always concerns as it relates to multifamily adjacent to single family, but the overriding concern of this particular neighborhood was Echelon Point, which is an 80-foot wide road, connecting through our property to Durango. Now, that's a really important street to your traffic folks. It is on the Master Streets and Highways plan within the Town Center plan. It's an 80-foot wide street, and your experts in your city firmly believe that that connection might have or could be necessary in the future. But the residents that live here felt very strongly that that would cause safety concerns. There's a lot of communities that utilize amenities on either side of Echelon Point, and since Echelon Point currently doesn't go through, there really hasn't been a tremendous amount of traffic here. So I want to just start by saying we thank every everybody for working with us on this. The neighbors, we've met with your public works staff, we've met with your planning staff, we've met with Mayor Pro Tem Fiore's office, trying to come up with a solution. And from our standpoint, this was one of the times where we said, we'll build it either way. We can put Echelon Point through, if that's what's important to the city or the residents, or we could come up with another solution that doesn't put it through. And so the plan that we're submitting to you today, and we've previously submitted to staff, although I've been asked to hand you a set of plans, here, Mr. Summerfield, I've been asked to hand you a set of plans at the dais. We have emailed those to staff prior to this meeting, is that we would temporarily close Echelon Point Drive. We've got conditions that either myself or staff will read into the record that address how this would work. But effectively, as the neighbors, from the neighbors' perspective, the residential neighbors, there would be a emergency fire access gate completely closing off Echelon Point right here. The fire access would come through here if necessary. There would be no pedestrian gates or anything, so there would be no access from either our project traveling westbound or from the westbound traveling eastbound. It would block off here. All of our traffic for our project would come off of Durango through Echelon Point and then come into our project. And then in this center area, we would use it for open space, and we know how important trees are to Mayor Pro Tem, so we would have a number of trees planted in this area. We may even include a dog run or a pet area, and then we would have some small monument signage here that identifies our project. The concept of the condition is that at some point in the future down the road, should the community come to Mayor Pro Tem and say, we think it's important for Echelon Point to connect because of the significant amount of traffic on Deer Springs Way, then there would be a public hearing, and that public hearing, you would determine whether or not you wanted to have that road make that connection. So staff and Planning Commission did recommend approval of the project. This design came in after the Planning Commission, but it does address the concerns raised by the neighbors. So we would ask you to consider this design and the revised conditions in your motion today. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Can you go back to your map that you had
Yes.
there? A couple of things I'd ask you. What school's that on your, I guess it's your right? Oh, nope, other way. Well, all right, what is that?
This
a
is
school?
this is a school. This is Coles over here, if that's what you were looking at.
Okay.
But there is a school here.
Oh, lower, middle, upper, do we know?
Do you know? It's an elementary. The neighbors are behind me. It's an elementary.
So it's not affected by the ability to get from inside this project, since it's multifamily residential, over to whatever that school is?
Well, are you saying if we have any school-age children in our
Yes.
project? So if we had any school-age children in our project, because there's no vehicular or pedestrian access going this way, they would have to come out Durango onto Deer Springs and come down onto Fort Apache to get there.
I just throw that out there. To me, that's perhaps an issue, not to hold it up. He does phenomenal work. Phenomenal work. Everything that's ever been done that I know of Mr. Mulaski's work, Oracle, phenomenal. So not to cause a problem. And then, do you know where the nearest fire station is?
I personally do not know where the nearest fire station is, but I can attest that I had a meeting with fire, and they evaluated the access points that we have in here. We did need to provide 2, and we are.
Okay. So the second one is coming in from the east. The one that you talk about has the crash gate.
Correct. Here, and then, of course, off of Echelon Point, coming off of Durango. So our second one becomes here.
So in this complex, one side or the other, you have from infants through all ages, I would gather?
I'm so sorry, what was the question?
All age children,
Could live in here, you mean?
yes.
Yes. It's
Okay.
not, yes.
Okay, those are my only questions, and just thanks for the work that you've been doing in this community for decades. And this is a public hearing, and then we'll take questions, any from council, but anyone from the public. And you'll be after them, yes, because I want your response. I see somebody is either leaving or is coming forward. Please do come on forward, state your name for the record. And then Mr. Summerfield will have
Hi,
the floor.
Heather Saunders, and I'm from the community. Of course, the community isn't totally for apartments, but we know that they're coming. But we did state what we required or requested, and it sounds like it's happening as far as the street, hopefully not being a through street. I know the landscaping was hopefully being adjusted for the trees and everything like
They'll do
that,
that.
yes. For some privacy on our end, and stuff like that. That's, we hope, and that'll make us happy.
And you've got a good developer and a great Mayor Pro Tem watching your trees.
And the four-way stop, hopefully, because that street is pretty bad as it is, and it's not even a through yet. So, it won't be a through, probably. But thank you.
Thank you very much for coming down. Anyone else? I'll close. Yes, sir.
Good morning, I'm Jim Ulitz. I live in the community Coral Bay right there. I just wanted to throw out for your concern for the children. Right now, there's a sidewalk all the way to the end of the dead end, so if you could possibly put in, it's the dead end with a little bit of land where the apartment's going, if there's some way to create some kind of access for them to for the kids to just hook up into the sidewalk, that would help take care of that situation.
Okay.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for staying with us. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close public hearing, and now Team Summerfield.
Good morning again, Madam Mayor. So the proposed development does meet the goals and objectives of the Urban Center Mixed-Use District of the Town Center plan by providing a multifamily development that is compatible with those adjacent single-family homes, as evidenced by the representative talking about stepping back the development. Those homes are, as indicated, to the west, as well as those commercial land uses that are to the east. Therefore, staff has recommended approval of all the applications. We do have some amended conditions. As indicated, we did just get some updated drawings on Monday, and so those were not a part of the backup. So I do need to amend, with your indulgence, a few conditions, and then to address the street situation, Mr. Anderson will also have an amended Public Works condition. So on SDR 76559, I would like to amend condition 3 to read as follows: all development shall be in conformance with the site plan date stamped 9/30/19, landscape plan date stamped 9/26/19, and building elevations date stamped 7/29/19, except as amended by conditions herein. I would like to also amend condition number 6 that addresses the landscape plan to address the neighbor's concern that spoke a moment ago, with 2 added bullet points at the end of condition 6. The first added bullet point would be that the western perimeter landscape buffer shall include 36-inch box-size African sumac and chitalapa. I probably mispronounced that, but it'll be written in the condition: trees planted in an alternating pattern every 15 feet on center. And a second added bullet point to that condition, that the temporary park area within the Echelon Point Drive right-of-way shall include an additional 36-inch box-size shade trees and a fenced area for dogs, such as a dog run and/or park. And as I mentioned, Mr. Anderson has an amendment to one of the Public Works conditions, or an added condition.
Yes, Bart Anderson, Public Works. And before I read the added condition, I would just seek your guidance on whether the elimination of pedestrian access through the site was council's intention. Most of the plans that I have been involved in with discussions included pedestrian access, although some of them did not. So I just wanted to see the guidance from the council's perspective on whether pedestrian access was to be preserved or not.
So as I met with the neighbors and went back and forth with emails, we have, because it's multifamily, multi-use, and this is a new property, the privacy of the community because they have a pool on one side and a park on another, and they just didn't want the community to get inundated with non-community members. So that is why we are closing access, as if to make sure that our community members that are there now We have the crash gates for fire, but there will be absolutely no construction vehicles, no one using that street in their neighborhood. In our ward in the Northwest, it's most important to me that our neighbors are happy with the growth progress that we're making, and what Mrs. Lavovich has read is complying with their desires for their neighborhood to make sure their neighborhood stays, from the trees to not having 4 stories in their backyard. That's why we're going 2, 3, 4. So what we've concluded is we are not going to have access to that.
Very good. Then if I may, Mayor, with your indulgence, add condition, I'd like this to be condition number 20 and the other conditions renumbered as appropriate. Echelon Point shall be temporarily blocked with a wrought iron fence at the western edge of this site, which may also be required for secondary fire access. The Echelon Point public right-of-way may be temporarily used for parking, landscaping, including trees, as well as a fenced area for a dog run, other open space amenities, and monument signage through a license agreement with the city, and subject to removal of said improvements by the licensee at their expense upon written notice by the city. No permanent structures are allowed within the Echelon Point public right-of-way. Prior to Echelon Point being opened to public vehicular traffic, there shall be a public hearing at City Council which authorizes the opening of Echelon Point. The city will construct this roadway improvement if authorized by the City Council.
And Mr. Anderson, if I could reiterate here, because I just did ask Mayor Pro Tem, then the concept of any pedestrian pass-through is not included. I just want to make sure that that's clear, that that's understood. Right. That was in
Right.
response to your residents overall, the majority concerned.
Concerned with,
Okay.
If in the future the roadway is reopened per this condition, then that would include pedestrian access as well. But for the term of the closure, it would be a complete closure, is my understanding,
Correct.
direction.
That's what you
but
said.
also, one amendment that I will need Mr. Summerfield and Mr. Anderson to add is the doggy stations, right? So, Mrs. Saunders, we talked about doggy stations around the perimeter. So we really worked diligently on checking all your boxes. And so we, Mr. Mulaski is willing to put the couple of doggy stations on each side.
Yes, my apologies, I meant to point that out. On the plan that we submitted to staff, it has 5 pet stations
Perfect.
based upon the feedback that we heard from the neighbors.
Perfect.
And the condition that I wrote in does accommodate, well, I call them dog runs, but I imagine a dog station would qualify.
So the doggy stations are our little paper bags so we can pick up our doggy messes.
Okay.
Okay.
So are you ready? Any comments, concerns down here? Any comments? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, please go ahead. Agenda item 49.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve agenda item 49.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote. There's a motion to approve. 49, please vote and please post. Motion carries. And agenda item 50, please.
I motion to approve agenda item 50.
There's a motion to approve agenda item 50. Please vote and please post. That motion carries. And finally, on 51.
I motion to approve agenda item 51.
There's a motion to approve, subject to,
As amended.
As amended.
as amended.
And Madam Mayor, I just really have to thank our community out there for your participation and letting us know how you want to keep your community. And I hope that we at the city have given you confidence that we listen and we do what you ask. And if there's anything more that you need, you just let us know. And I want to thank Mrs. Jennifer and Mr. Mulaski for your willing participation with our neighbors up there and really taking to heart their consideration. Thank you.
Wonderful. All motions carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another great job. Okay, agenda items number 5253. 52 SUP 76975, a request for a special use permit for an open-air vending transient sales lot use. Number 53, SDR 76976, on a request for a site development plan review for proposed open-air vending transient sales lot development. The applicant owner is Decatur Concord LLC on .44 acres at 1934 North Decatur Boulevard. C1 Limited Commercial Zone. The Planning Commission staff recommend denial on both items. These are in Ward 5 with Councilman Creer and are public hearings, which I now declare open. Is the applicant present or representative?
Yes, Mayor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the Mayor and Council. Ricky Barlow for the record, 3172 North Rainbow, LV Access. I'm here on behalf of the applicant before you today because of a number of items that I would like to point out. One, there are a variety of food trucks in this particular region of the ward that has been looking for an opportunity to sell their goods and products as far as food during the lunch and dinner hour in this particular area. City staff, by right, by code, has actually been finding a number of the food trucks because they're parking inappropriately on public as well as private properties. And so this particular development right near the corner of Lake Mead and Decatur is looking to have an open-air vending opportunity for the food trucks to come and set up during the day in order to sell their food products, a variety of food products. And so we've been working closely with staff to come to a happy median to pull the food trucks in onto this site in the open air space. And so what we're looking to do on one of the undeveloped parcels on this development, which is completely dirt today, we're looking to bring in pavers, decorative pavers, and decorate this particular site in order for the food trucks to come in and set up. And we're also looking to improve the landscaping as well as some of the gazebo concepts that Councilman Creer mentioned that he would like to see as well. But of course, we would have to take your direction with that, because by going through staff and setting it up the way in which you would like, that would have to be a council decision in regards to what you would like to see there. But we're happy to do that. But for code purposes, we're looking to do decorative pavers and allow for the food trucks to come in and be a licensed spot for the variation of food trucks that are looking to come up off the city streets and be on a licensed pad that they will have an opportunity to sell throughout the day. And as we get into the more specific details, there are a couple items, or I should say one item on each of the site development review as well as the special use permit I would like to bring forward, which is number 4 on each one of them. So at this point, I would like to turn it over to the mayor and council for any questions or comments or direction that the council office would like to bring forward.
Thank you very much. Let's turn this over to Mr. Summerfield.
Madam Mayor, the subject site is a partially developed corner parcel, which is Zone C1 Limited Commercial. As indicated by the applicant's representative, they are requesting to locate 4 food trailers on new pavers at the center of this portion of the parcel. The applicant is requesting the SUP so that the vendors can operate on a single parcel with more than 4 hours within a 24-hour period, and also so that more than 2 vendors can operate on a single parcel within a 24-hour period. Staff finds that the hours of operation until 2 a.m. are incompatible with the surrounding area. The mobile trucks will be in the direct line of sight of several homes and will have no buffer to the noise associated with mobile food vending, such as generators, compressors, idling vehicles, patron queuing outdoors, and grilling operations. For these reasons, staff has recommended denial of the proposed entitlements. The applicant was requesting staff to consult on this prior to Planning Commission, and I think we have done some work as the representative has indicated, and the application has had some improvements. There's some landscape requirements that need to be brought up to current code that will need to be done as a part of this project.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, just speak to a couple of points that Mr. Summerfield has brought forward.
Okay, and I do want to hear from the public.
Okay, I'm
So do
sorry.
you want to go first?
No, please.
Okay. Anyone from the public referencing 52 or 53? Nope. Okay, back to you.
Thank you. As we all know, technology has improved dramatically, and so therefore, as far as any noise coming from food trucks, that's actually, all of the noise is internal inside the food trucks. And so as far as generators and things of that nature, we all have had events in the parks and out in the community where you don't hear any noise from food trucks because it's all internal, and the majority of everything is electric or natural gas, and so there won't be any noise coming from any of the food trucks. In addition to that, from a cultural standpoint, specifically with a lot of the nightclubs that are surrounding the entire Las Vegas Valley, a lot of individuals from various ethnic groups eat after the club hours. And so if you look around the valley, specifically near and around the downtown area like we all have, there's a number of food trucks that are parked on corners, and you don't hear noise from them, but you actually see people eating at 2, 3 in the morning. And so the nature of why we're asking for this time is because it'll allow for these trucks, once again, to operate on a licensed pad and not be hit with tickets for being on public and private property after a certain period of time. And so therefore, we're requesting that the time be allotted to the 2 a.m. hour, because that's also an opportunity for them to continue to operate and sell their food product after a lot of the residents come from their various nightlife activities here in Southern Nevada. In addition to that, the distance from the residents, the closest residence as far as home to this site is well over 200 and some feet. Now, property line to property line, it may be approximately somewhere between 60 and 80 feet. And so as far as the impact of where this site is located and the nearest home, and specifically with the homes, the back of the homes is actually facing this property, not the front. And so the impact, I don't see where that will come into play, but I'll allow that to be a council decision as it relates to the distance and any noise that staff is suggesting. And I don't believe that to be the case specifically, how in fact this site is located, and it abuts Decatur, right? You'll hear more traffic on Decatur than you will ever hear coming from a site where someone is coming in to grab a few tacos in the middle of the night.
Thank you. Comments, question from council?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, well, then I just want to make sure in case your colleagues had something to share with you, a brilliant thought.
Yes, I would love to hear that.
Which council members often have. But since it's silent, there's no brilliant thought, and it's not your turn.
They're waiting on my brilliant thought. So thank you for coming in, and thank you guys for making some improvements to the site. You know, this could be a really cool thing that's sort of set up throughout the entire community situated, because you're right, food trucks are parking illegally. They're just sort of parking someplace, and the people are coming in, and which is great, but there's no really ordinance that talks about having a contiguous space for them, and thanks for going back and making it more of just, instead of just putting it on that dirt. And I'm very familiar with that corner. They do a lot of car washing there, so those guys aren't going to be happy with you guys. You're going to bump them out. But the car wash is not, it's not zoned for, I mean, it's not appropriate for there. So it's not like they're, I guess as a councilman, I just sort of drove by and didn't really say much about it, because people are trying to be, you know, entrepreneurial, and they're doing what they're doing. But this, I think, will add to the shopping, to the area, the shopping center. Am I to also understand the landscaping that you have along that would be the south buffer there with the trees and those plants, all that's going in as well? Or is
Yes.
that just for it looks pretty?
No, this is all based on your recommendation, Councilman.
Right,
And
right.
you and I both on the same page when it comes to really increasing the aesthetic look of developments to bring up the area. And so, no, we're looking to improve that the way in which you've recommended and suggested.
Yeah, that's a big enhancement from what that looks like now. There's just like a berm of dirt that's there, and actually some people drive across that to kind of get out of that shopping center. So I think it's great. I like we talked about making it a somewhat of a permanent structure that's there so people can eat there and they'll know it's there instead of picking up tables and moving them out every night and coming back in.
That's right.
So we would have to waive condition number 4 for that, which would cause for a temporary structure, right, Mr. Summerfield?
I apologize, Councilman, which, are we on the SUP or the SDR?
So I guess we're on the
SUP.
SDR now. But I guess, I don't know if that, both those conditions are there, because it says that, condition 4 says that you basically cannot have a permanent structure. You would,
Well, if I
looking
may
at it
provide
correctly.
some clarity,
pardon me?
if I may provide some clarity?
Yes.
Okay. On the SDR, Councilman and staff, item number 4, the undeveloped portion of the lot shall be paved prior to the approval of the business license. We're okay with that. What we want spelled out is the fact that you want decorative pavers and not
Yeah.
asphalt,
Yeah, right.
right?
Right.
And in addition to that, there can be another condition to where you direct us, for example, to have a gazebo and garbage cans, as well as some formal permanent structure affixed to the pavers that will make this more of an aesthetic pleasing look, and I can continue to work with your office to make sure that that happens to your liking.
Yes.
And so that can actually be placed in replace of item number 4 or added to.
Okay.
My apologies, Councilman. So I guess I'm going to kind of deviate or disagree with the representative. I don't believe we need any additional conditions here
Okay.
because they are required to be in conformance with the site plan and landscape plan that have been submitted, which, based on the notes on that plan, would indicate the pavers. I believe it indicates the gazebo.
Correct.
So I don't believe we need any conditions to spell those out more than they've already been spelled out on the plans.
But, let me
And
ask
if
you a
you
question.
make minor changes in conversation between now and when they come in with any plans, a minor change to those approvals, that can be done administratively. We
Administratively.
wouldn't need to come back to council for something like that. In fact, unless they were putting a building on the site, I can't see why we would come back to council on adjustments to this site plan. And so I don't think
I see
we
what
would.
you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think
Since
we
you're
would.
saying, since we're approving the SDR, then
Yeah,
that supersedes item 4.
right.
Gotcha.
Right.
According to this site plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Site plan. Okay, I once again, I think it's kind of cool. I was in Maui, Hawaii one time, and by the airport, they had a group of food trucks that were there, similar to what you're doing here, and it was really cool. Had the best lemongrass chicken, they called it, that I've had, I don't know, it was really good. So if you can find that truck and bring them over to Ward 5, we would appreciate it. Do a little
Okay.
recon. If there's no other comments, I'd like to make a motion, Madam Mayor.
That sounds good to me, as long as they make sure they have their health department clearance.
Yes.
Clearly visible in the window of every truck.
That's a part
their
of
number.
each food vendor's license with the health department as well as the city of Las Vegas. So that's a requirement that they must have anyway, but we'll make sure, being that they're on our site, that we will have an opportunity to
And their
vet that.
license number for that, because, today people are so clever with their technology and
Right.
Photoshop and make your own. I mean, I've seen people who have graduate degrees, they've never set foot in a school. So, I think it's just for the public and their own safety and the business I know they can do, which is unbelievable.
Right.
So thank you.
And just,
All right.
because I can't see it on my side, is the first item the SDR, Robert, Mr. Summerfield, or the SUP?
SUP.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, through you, it's the SUP. And if I may, Madam Mayor, Councilman, when you make your motion, could you include what you would approve the hours of operation to be? Currently, we have a condition with conformance with the conditions, and since this is a kind of a deviation from the conditional use, if you would just state what you would like the hours of operation to be for this special use permit, that would be helpful for my staff in any future enforcement concerns.
And Councilman, also in addition to that, we're asking that item under the special use permit, 76975, that item number 4 be stricken as well, because the applicant has a current contract with one of his tenants for specific parking agreement, and so this right here would eliminate that and make that contract null and void. And so being that the development is currently over-parked right now, we don't see any impact as to there being an accelerated amount of additional cars being parked. So I don't want to breach my client's contract with his tenant, and so we're requesting that item number 4 be stricken from the SUP.
So, Madam Mayor, if I may speak to that. So the problem is the proposed development is on top of where this commercial parking facility is supposed to be. So in order to strike that condition, I'll need to see a site plan that demonstrates that they can accommodate that use somewhere else on site to be able to continue that activity, because at present, their current site plan would negate their current approval for a commercial parking facility on this location. So that's why that condition is in there, because you can't have, basically, you can't commercially park if you converted it into something else. So as of present, I don't believe I have a site plan that demonstrates that they're moving the commercial parking facility from the area where they're currently approved to do that, which is where they're proposing to do
Mr. Summerfield, I'd
the
like to
transit
just
sales
throw
lot.
out 2 more items that I'm concerned about, and to Councilman Creer, obviously, is assuming that the lighting, since these are people who may be on a graveyard shift or whatever their shift, they're coming into the area, coming home, that the residents around it, the lighting is adequate to really be safe for those who are availing themselves of the food trucks. And the other thing, that somebody actually has given a security plan for the parking in the late hours of the morning. So I don't know what you've got there, but it's just safety is always number one, as you know. Safety is always number one. So that there's an adequate security plan to take care of the wee hours of the morning, and that lighting is adequate to protect those who are coming by car, getting out of the car, and that so there are no problems.
Right.
That's it. They're just thrown there. It's not an answer to me. I
Right.
just want to make sure the city has it, and Councilman Creer.
Right. And Councilman Creer had mentioned when I met with him last also, with the opportunity of, for example, I've seen in other communities, in other cities, where the string of lights, the string of light bulbs would be a part of this. We didn't have time to basically drop that in there, but from a lighting standpoint, the dim light bulbs will basically be a part and incorporated within this site as well.
Okay. Well, I
Right.
just, to me, that's always, security is always a problem, and always first on my mind, and lighting helps that, so.
Right.
Thank you.
And what are the
And
hours of
that-
operation?
To 2 a.m. 2 a.m. And Councilman, back to the parking agreement, and I know that staff and I respectfully disagree on this item, but when you can drive through there today, day or night, and there's ample parking because there are some facilities that are currently dormant or basically have very small amount of parking. So this entire site has ample enough parking to handle the influx of the few cars that will be basically coming in and out. And so what I want to do is just try to protect my client's client, who he has the contract with, so that, and plus this will be temporary, because in the future, as things develop and the economy turns around, we're coming back in to have this removed to actually build a new building here in the future. So this is all temporary for right now, in basically cleaning up this site, because today it doesn't look attractive. It's all dirt and rock. And so we're just trying to, do what we can right through this, very short time frame to not only generate a little bit of income, but also improve the site until things get better to where we can come and bring in a building, and we'll be happy to address that parking concern at that time.
Right. So once again, I'm very familiar with the, with the site. I'm not sure, from a technical standpoint, you mentioned a few things that I guess needs to happen, but the site is way underparked. There's never an issue of parking there, even with the beauty salon and the nail salon and the little C-store on the corner.
That's correct.
Gets some traffic there from the C-store on the other side, but there's never really an issue. So I'm not sure. You tell me what needs to happen to get this approval so that we can move forward.
So, Madam Mayor, if I may, through you. So, Councilman, you're correct. It's a technical issue. I would agree with the representative. I do not believe that for this site that it couldn't accommodate a commercial parking facility on somewhere on the larger site. The item that's before you today, however, is in the area where it's currently approved. So I need to have an updated full-site parking area that would show where they can accommodate the required parking for those existing stores, the area that they would designate, the new area on the site that they designate for the commercial parking facility to meet their contractual obligation, and that doesn't interfere with this approval here, because otherwise they may need a variance. Again, it's a technical issue. I know the site doesn't generate as much traffic as on paper those uses that are on site may require, but if they can't demonstrate that they're meeting all of those parking demands, something's got to go or they've got to request a variance.
So I'm somewhat confused then. Why wouldn't that be, was that left off of was that a requirement that you needed prior to them coming in here today, or is that something that just popped up here today? Because I would assume that if they were told this needed to happen, then they would have provided you with the information.
My understanding is this has been a conversation, and as the representative mentioned, this is a point of contention where the party hasn't agreed with staff that this requirement would be there. That's why the condition reads that the existing use where the transient open space lot is going to go has to cease. I believe that that's a solution, though, that if I can maybe adjust the condition for unless a updated site plan is approved administratively by the planning department indicating that all uses can be accommodated, something to that nature. That way, they don't have to come back for an approval if Mr. Barlow's client can show that he can accommodate everything on the site. Otherwise, he'll have to come forward for a variance for whatever deviation that would result in for the parking to keep a commercial parking facility at this location, to approve in somewhere else in the parking lot, to approve this current request, and then to accommodate those retail spaces that are existing in the commercial center.
Now, that area where they're going to put this was never parking in the first place, though. But you're saying that since you're adding...
Well, so that's the thing. Technically, that was shown as where I don't think they've been using it, but that in the approval for the commercial parking facility, this is the area of the parking lot that was designated for that commercial parking. I believe they've been utilizing existing spaces on site for it, but technically the approval was based on them converting this area for that parking facility.
Yes, Council, we have been using the other parcels because, as you very well know, no one can park in the dirt. That's a city violation. And so being that the site is overparked, we utilize other parking. We utilize, as a matter of fact, this portion of the parcel for the 10 spots that we were asked for from the client. And so now we're coming in to develop this site with the pavers to basically eliminate the dust abatement and do some formal improvement there temporarily until we have an opportunity to come and build an actual structure which will meet all of the parking requirements according to staff and city code.
Where is that condition? I was looking at it, and maybe I'm missing it.
The condition that we're discussing is on the
Item number
special
4 on the
use
special
permit.
use permit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on.
Item number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's looking...
Could I ask one more question or make one more statement?
Please.
Any thought about doing this with all the conditions that need to be resolved as a pilot for 6 months, see how, I mean, these are movable pieces easily.
We'll be happy to do
And
that.
if there's any issue, then you can just stop it. But if it proves to be something that's positive and safe, you let it continue.
Yeah, that was my next question,
So
though.
a
I mean,
required
if-
review could be put on the application to have staff let you have an update on whether or not we've had any issues, or you could actually have it come back before you if you wanted to hear a presentation on it.
Well, that was going to be my next question as well, if we can approve it and then some type of waiver or review at some point. So why don't we do that?
So,
What would be the language for that?
okay, so two things. One, so condition 4, again, I think we need to edit that to reflect that the license for the commercial parking goes away unless the applicant is able to demonstrate that the parking can be accommodated elsewhere on the site. Otherwise, they'll need to come back for a variance for that, and then that doesn't become a problem. And then, based on that comment about a required review, I would add a condition to the special use permit that a required review would be, hold on a second, let me take a look at that. So an administrative well, it depends, through you, Madam Mayor, Councilman, would you want that to come back before council, or would you be okay with an admin review? So an admin review shall be conducted 6 months from issuance of business license.
With the elimination of item number 4.
Again, because we have the technical issue of the parking, it can't eliminate it 100%. I can put some additional language on it that would allow us to administratively adjust the site plan to accommodate it.
That's yeah.
If all parking can be met or a variance is approved by council, then the license doesn't have to go away.
Okay, I mean, that still goes back to variance, that parking has to be,
Yeah, it's a technical issue. They have to demonstrate that they can meet parking, or they have to get an approved variance. So it's not to say that there's not grounds for a variance if it comes to that, but I have to treat everybody equally, and so I have to be able to demonstrate that the site can meet its parking
all right, that
requirements.
sounds like the best we're going to do.
I'm sorry?
That sounds like the best we're going to do.
That's fine. We can do a 6-month review after the business license has been issued.
Okay, great. So I'm going to make a motion for approval item 52 with stated conditions.
And to which you agree for your client.
Yes, ma'am. Approved.
Thank you.
With the
Okay.
understanding that hours of operation are until 2 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. There's a
And-
motion,
And if I can be clear before you read the results, and again, the added conditions are administrative required review within 6 months from issuance of business license, and amended condition 4 to allow the applicant to demonstrate that they can conduct the commercial parking activity on site or submittal of a variance.
All right.
that's where you are, right?
Yeah, they'll be
Okay.
fine.
And
It's
that's
not going to be a parking issue.
Yes,
6
we
months
agree.
or 2 months, so it's fine.
We agree.
Okay, so there's that motion on agenda item 52, so please vote. And please post. And agenda item 52 carries. Let's move on to agenda item 53.
Thank you, Mayor. I move for approval of item 53.
Great. There's a motion to approve agenda item 53, subject to any conditions that have been dialogued. Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. Well, motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
What kind of
Thank you,
trucks,
Councilman.
what kind of food are we having? That's very important. We're all starving here, so could you tell us what kind of food are we having besides the one that's already stuck in Hawaii that we're not having?
Lemongrass
Well,
chicken.
I'm chasing the chicken down on behalf of
Okay.
Councilman Greer, so
That'll really have juice in it. Great. Let
Thank
us
you all.
know when they're up and what you're offering.
will do.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, agenda item 54, is that where we are? Right. SUP 77155, public hearing applicant RG Highland Enterprises, Inc. Owner, and this will go to Mayor Pro Tem after I read it, owner, 1916 Highland Properties LTD, possible action on a request for a special use permit for a proposed 17,754 square foot marijuana cultivation facility use at 3020 and 3030 South Valley View Boulevard, M Industrial Zone, Ward 1, with Councilman Knutson. Planning Commission and staff recommend approval. This is a public hearing which is open, and is the applicant or representative present? And I am turning this all over to Mayor Pro Tem Fiore, as one of my sons is in the business, and I will abstain. Yours.
Okay.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Yes, I am the representative for the applicant, RG Highland Enterprises. My name is Amy Sugden, that's S-U-G.
Can you put your, next to the mic?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, could you do that again?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that I'm kind of tall, so I'm far away. All right, so I am here on behalf of the applicant, RG Highland Enterprises, and my name is Amy Sugden, that's S-U-G-D-E-N. The applicant is before you here on the SUP for a marijuana cultivation facility. He was displaced, unfortunately, my client, in about 2017 due to Project Neon. He previously has proven himself as a successful operator with a cultivation facility over in Ward 3. He was located at 1916 Highland Avenue prior to being displaced by the project. Since then, he looked for another facility within the city to relocate. It's taken him several years, but we've gotten to that process, and he's hoping to now get reestablished and do what he did before successfully. As one of the first operators in the city, he was proven to meet all of the necessary requirements. In particular, I know odor is a concern for anyone that's potentially considering being located in the proximity to a cultivation facility. And what's nice about the city, unlike some of the other jurisdictions, is that you guys have a very strong odor control policy. In fact, you cannot get your certificate of occupancy until you have a third party come out and do testing that shows you cannot emit odor from the four corners of the property. Again, my client has proven he can do that. He has done that. He got his occupancy and operated for approximately a year before being displaced by Project Neon. So we're here, I believe, of the 382 postcards that were sent out, I think only 4 protests were received. We tried to make ourselves available to anyone that's had any concerns. We have not had any issues yet really from the community. We welcome, though, to work with anybody who has concerns. We know that this is a new business and a new industry, so people often have maybe misconceptions or misunderstandings. And again, my client is more than happy to help work with any of the surrounding community members to make sure that any of their concerns are addressed and be a good partner to provide jobs in this ward. We believe that he will start out with approximately 10 to 12 employees, but more than double and triple that as this is a process where they harvest marijuana, and eventually, as you need people to package and trim, he's going to need to employ a lot more people. So it will grow. And again, happy to answer any questions you guys have.
No. Mr. Summerfield.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, the proposed marijuana cultivation facility does meet all Title 1912 minimum distance separation requirements. It is noted that the subject site is located within 300 feet of an existing martial arts studio. However, the applicant has submitted a signed affidavit from the ownership of that studio that indicates that less than 50% of the studio's clients are 17 years old or younger, and therefore staff has recommended approval of the proposed entitlement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Summerfield. This is a public meeting. Is there anyone wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and turn it over to Councilman Knutson.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. I've met with the applicant and Ms. Sugden, multiple times. I think this is a good use for the facility. I've driven down the road many, many times, and for years it's been a vacant building, which I think has been a detriment to the ward. We talked about the opportunity for employment growth, which is really very important to many of the residents within Ward 1. There are some communities around there that expressed some concern in prior months, and so that's the request that we've discussed, is that if people bring up concerns over the course of your business, that we have the opportunity to reach out and find ways to establish partnerships and collaborations between the surrounding neighborhoods and the proposed facility. So I appreciate the opportunity to bring more jobs into Ward 1, and thank you for doing business in Ward 1. And with that, I would motion for approval.
Thank you.
There is a motion on the floor. Please vote and post.
saying waiting? It's frozen. Can you
Suspense.
do it for me? Yay? And that motion passes.
Thank you for
And
your
that
time.
motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 55, set date on any appeals filed, required public hearings. I'd instruct the city clerk to set the public hearing dates and appeals from the city planning commission meetings, dangerous building or nuisance litter abatements.
Will do, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is our second public citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the city council. No subject may be acted upon by the city council unless that subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come to the podium, give your name for the record, the amount of discussion, any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. This is your opportunity to address the council, but the council is not able to respond or engage in dialogue. Any members of the community who wish to speak under this portion of the agenda? Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item 57, council member recognition. Comments made by individual city council members during this portion of the agenda will not be acted upon by the city council unless the subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. I know we always have something to say, and I can't remember which end I started at last week. I think it was the birthday girl. So we will now go to the left and start with Councilwoman Victoria Seaman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we have a public safety town hall coming up on October 9th, where the Las Vegas Fire and Rescue and the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department will be there. Wednesday, October 9th at 6 p.m. at Veterans Memorial. We hope you'll all come out. We'll be serving Dave's Barbecue. So please come out for that. Then we have on Saturday, October 12th, our Breakfast Buzz and Ward 2 Biz. It will be our third one. We do this monthly. Just come and share your concerns and break bread with us. Saturday, October 12th, 9 to 10 at Makers and Finders over in downtown Summerlin. And that evening, you can take your children to our movie in the park, Trunk or Treat, from 6 to 9. Again, that's Saturday, October 12th, and we'll be featuring Casper. And if you have not yet reached out to us to feature your business on our Small Business Sundays, please do that. You can contact us at 702-229-2420 or just comment on our social media. And any other questions or concern, you can email us at ward2@lasvegasnevada.gov.
Thank you. And Councilman Creer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
How many pages is that?
This one?
Yeah.
Actually, just one.
I'm kidding you. Okay, please go ahead.
I hear you, though, believe me. The City of Las Vegas will host a Veteran Services Fair on Wednesday, October the 9th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This event is open to all veterans of the U.S. military services. Offered will be VA enrollment, VA benefits, VA medical vision, dental screening, Job Connect, housing assistance, counseling, and more. For more information, contact 702-229-6307. Please join me, Clark County Commissioner Lawrence Weekly, and graduate students of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas School of Public Policy and Leadership for a resources fair. The event will take place on Wednesday, October 23rd from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Pearson Community Center at 1625 West Cary Avenue. There will be vendors offering services to discuss resumes, skill training, job placement, meals and housing assistance, and more. Also, Nevada colleges will be on site to discuss the enrollment processes, and all families are welcome. On Thursday, October 24th, I will host an event along with the city staff to discuss community matters and issues of importance to Ward 5. The community forum will update residents on the top Ward 5 strategic priorities, the Ward 5 Works Program, homeless courtyard, homelessness and housing, historic urban neighborhood design redevelopment via the 100 Plan, and public safety. City staff will be on hand for a question and answer period, plus information about services the city has to offer will also be available. For more information, contact my office at 702-229-5443. And don't forget, you can always stay in touch with us at Twitter at Cedric Creer, Instagram Councilman Creer, Facebook Councilman Cedric Creer. That's it.
Wow, that's great. Thank you. And before I ask Councilman Anthony to report, I do have to tell you all that the Nevada League of Cities has honored Councilman Anthony with something that is spectacular. It's like it's the most popular politician ever born. What is the title? Come on, tell us. And he's been around for a long time, so it's well-deserved. He's certainly a loyal and devoted member of service. So with 29 years at Metro, he better be. So what was the award, the specific?
Public Official of the Year for 2019.
How's that?
Thank you. That's very nice.
Okay, so now it's your turn.
Thank you. And you know what? It was a great honor, but I'm no different than anybody else up here. We're just trying to make our cities great places to live and work and be proud of our city. So I'm all doing what you're all doing, but it was quite an honor to get that. Thanks. Okay, so coming up this Monday is Coffee with a Cop and me. It'll be October 7th, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. over at Neaters at Craig and 95. Great place to have breakfast. You can come out and chat with me, Metro Police officers, our Department of Public Safety officers. Tell us we're doing a good job or a bad job or what the problems are in your neighborhood. Be glad to hear from you. So please come out for that. And then one other item. It's National Night Out. It's being sponsored by myself and Mayor Pro Tem Fiore, Commissioner Brown, as well as the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. There'll be a lot of booths out there talking about public safety issues, and be a great chance again to meet with Metro officers, Department of Public Safety for the city, the three of us from the city and the county. And it's free, and you can come out. We'll have some free giveaways, and again, it's a great night for people to come together and make sure criminals know that we own this city, they don't, and we all come together to protect our communities. So that will be Tuesday, October 8th from 5:30 to 7:30 at a wonderful park, Police Memorial Park. Plenty of room out there, so please come out and join all of us. Thank you, Mayor.
And how about just a brief report on our Greek holiday and the great festival and how much you gained being out?
It was a wonderful 3 days last weekend for the St. John the Baptist Greek Food Festival. Unfortunately, it was crazy windy on Saturday, so not a lot of people came out on Saturday, but we were jam-packed Friday and Sunday, and it was a wonderful day to be Greek, and all the money goes to the church. And I ate too much meat for those 3 days, so I'm on a non-meat diet for probably the next 2 weeks just to get my
cholesterol back in
get my everything back to order. So thanks for asking, and if you came out, I know you had a great time.
Yeah,
Thank
wonderful.
you.
And the dancing, the young people and everything, just a fabulous holiday. So if you missed it this year, get out there next year. The food's fabulous. I think it's almost all homemade.
Yes.
And
it is.
it is by those that really are tremendous chefs. So, Mayor Pro Tem, we're just going right through the line, so you're next.
Thank you. So before we start talking about what's happening, I just want to point out this book, as our city manager did earlier, Healing Las Vegas. And I want to point this book out because our mayor last night did such a wonderful job on the second anniversary of October 1st, reading all 58 names. And so our Healing Garden in its second year compared to last year, the trees have grown bigger. I mean, it was amazing to see what we saw last night. And so again, if you want this book, you can get it at Barnes & Noble. It's Healing Las Vegas. and it's a tremendous effort of volunteers putting that together, so last night was wonderful. Now, you might be wondering why we are wearing our Golden Knights gear up here today, and that is because it is the opening day for our Vegas Golden Knights tonight. They are playing the Sharks, so we need to make sure that they sink the Sharks this evening. So go Knights, go. We have a movie. Oh, no, sorry. Meeting with me first before the movie. So this Friday, we are going to have our YMCA 9 to 11 breakfast. So we have our neighbors meeting with us, and this is where we find out what's going on in the neighborhood and what needs to be fixed and what is great. So come meet with me at the YMCA from 9 to 11. Have some coffee and breakfast with me, and you will just love it. From then, same day, Friday, October 4th, we can watch a movie together that night, The House with the Clock in the Walls. We chose that because it's October, it's Halloween, it's supposed to be a little spooky. So meet me at Centennial Hills Park, and it might be a little breezy, so bring a blanket or a jacket, because we're getting into the season to where it is time for boots and pretty winter clothes. Then, the next day, Saturday, we are continuing with our foodie tour, and you guys have chosen the Market Grill Cafe. And the fabulous thing about choosing the Market Grill Cafe is the Market Grill Cafe does the Octopa Fest from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. I'll be doing the foodie tour in the midst of that from 4 to 6. So come have dinner with me at the Market Grill Cafe Saturday, October 5th from 4 to 6. On our missing juveniles, we have found, thank goodness, Cordy Ward. So Cordy has been found, and thank you for all of your help. Now we are looking for Ariana Gaines. She's only 15, she's beautiful, she's 5'4", brown hair, brown eyes, African American. Ariana was last seen in the area of Las Vegas. She was last seen carrying a backpack with personal belongings. She could be suffering from severe emotional distress and may require medical attention. So please call Las Vegas Metro Police at 702-828-3111 or Nevada Child Seekers at 702-458-7009. We are also looking for Naseth Cruz. She is Hispanic. She is another beautiful female, 16 years old, brown eyes, brown hair. Naseth was last seen in the area of Pecos and Owens. She was last seen wearing a black shirt and black and red checkered pajamas. So please, if you have any information, please call the Las Vegas Metro Police at 702-828-3111 or our Nevada Child Seekers at 702-458-7009. Thank you.
Thank you. And how are things in Ward 1? Are you having lots of parties?
I'm always partying, Mayor.
See, I could tell.
I was partying with my 4-year-old, yes. I was humiliated in the ceremonial that I could not pronounce the word, not because of everyone watching, but because of you. So for your benefit, Brian texted me the pronunciation and the language, so I would like to say it. It's still a hard word, though. Conflagration is an extensive fire which destroys a great deal of land or property. So I'm learning every day. That was a tough one.
And you will for the rest of your life, let me tell you.
For the rest of my life.
It is.
There's some great things happening in Ward 1. This morning, we talked about the Fire Prevention Week. On Saturday, October 12th, at Fire Station 6 from 9 a.m. to noon, we'll be having pancakes and looking at fire trucks and learning as much as we can about fire safety. So I'm super excited, and I'm going to invite all the kids in my neighborhood to come out with Andrew and see the fire trucks and firefighters. The Springs Preserve is hosting Haunted Harvest for 3 weekends in October, starting October 11th. Wow. And you can visit springspreserve.org for more information. And the Philadelphia Dance Company will be performing at Charleston Heights Art Center also on October 12th at 7 o'clock p.m.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Where's that performance, did you say?
Charleston Heights.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a wonderful facility for the council
great.
members to go and
Yeah.
see shows. Yeah.
See what you inherited, everything good in your neighborhood.
Everything's wonderful.
Right. Isn't it true? Thank you, Councilman. And Councilwoman, having brought us such excitement this morning.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hope everybody enjoyed the Hispanic heritage, just representation that we were able to thankfully have through Isela Gutierrez's assistance here this morning, and go Knights go. We're all knighted up, and I'm so incredibly fortunate to be, born and raised in Las Vegas, so I feel that connection to them because I love their mantra. And yesterday's outpouring of support for the 1 October survivors and victims was just absolutely heartwarming to see. So I am Vegas proud, and we are Vegas stronger. So I'm super grateful to live in this great city. Just a few announcements on my end to wrap us up today. We do have our Great Career and Job Match Fair happening this Saturday, October 5th at East Las Vegas Library, right there off of 28th and Bonanza, and it will happen from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you want to seek better employment or you need employment, we will have almost close to 30 employers there on site with jobs, and you just need to come and hopefully bring your resume. And on Thursday, so tomorrow, we will be offering resume assistance. If you need to bring it up to speed, you need help putting it together, we will have staff there from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the East Las Vegas Library as well. And then I just want to put another plug in for our final Hispanic Heritage event that our fabulous city folks have organized. It will be at East Las Vegas Community Center, and it starts at 11 a.m. if I'm not mistaken, and I can't remember if it goes to about 2 p.m. So we hope that you can join us, and if you're interested in providing entertainment and food, reach out to the community center and they can guide you to who you need to speak to. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And last but not least, I get the floor. I want you all to know that the reason I will not be at the National Night Out on the 8th, I've been there every year for 8 years, and I'm so delighted that Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem are going to be there along with Commissioner Brown, but it is the first night of Yom Kippur, and I will be praying for you all for a sweet and good year coming forward, and then all day the following day. But it is on Erev, the eve of the highest holiday for the Jewish part of our community, that National Night Out is this year. So I will be praying for our law enforcement and those in service through our fire and rescue, that they are kept safe and that life is good and productive and happy and healthy for each one who has already been through the service or continues now in our law enforcement, fire and rescue. So for those of you who love to read, and looking ahead on your calendars, because I've asked council, don't go way out unless it's for you all to understand you need to put these dates down on your calendar to reserve them. If you love to read, please join us at the fabulous Las Vegas Book Festival on Saturday, October 19th. So reserve that at the historic Fifth Street School. And there'll be many authors on hand, and if you've just written a book, come on, bring it along. We're just excited about it, young adult novels, fiction and nonfiction, so it should be fabulous. And then the 20th annual Las Vegas Mayor's Cup International Soccer Tournament is coming up on October 25th through 27th, and I know so many of the events go on at Betty Wilson Park, but around the city, and this is for the younger group in the fall. In February, we have the older children participate in the soccer tournament, then again the Mayor's Cup, and that's where we have coaches coming to watch the students and look maybe for scholarship for college. So please come. And then our next council meeting is in 2 weeks, so that would put it at October 16th? Okay, yes, and promptly at 9, and we haven't changed that either. But keep an eye on us, because Mr. Adams is going to continue to look into how we can make sure we're servicing you in a better fashion by doing all the business pieces, planning, and everything that we can pull together first in the morning with presentations and reports in the afternoon. So with that, again, I'm always thanking our council, who are the best. I'm having such a good time with them, especially with their attire today. And yes, go Go Knights Go. And, but also to our technology, everybody's in the window that's one way, but I can always see them and
I
thank
see
them,
their hands.
everybody. Oh, now
I
they're
see them,
flashing.
yeah.
No, they're flashing their little lights. We can do that back. Yes. And then to our marshals, everybody that's here, all of our directors that are so patient, and nobody's been reading their cell phones. I've been looking to see who's reading and playing games, but they're not. They're with us. So anyway, we are on again for the 16th. We thank everybody, and thank you to those in our communities for hanging with us, trying to understand all sides of all of our issues. And I thank our clerks and our staff, and I see a finger going up. Can't help himself.
Mind if I just make one comment? Madam Mayor, just you made me think of something. On October the 16th, we are honoring and doing a ceremonial for our Las Vegas Aces. And so they will be here on the 16th. So if those fans of our illustrious WNBA team, please come out on the morning of the 16th, about 9 a.m., and we'll have our ceremony. We're going to honor the Las Vegas Aces. It's going to be great.
And they have had a great 2 years.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
great.
they have. So we're real proud of them also. Yes.
Let's get Aces gear, guys, for the 16th.
I
It's our game.
have I have a basketball they brought me. I don't have any clothing, though. All right, so that'll be the next thing, or a pin. All right, we're adjourned. Have a great, great rest of the week and a safe weekend. It will get a little warmer this weekend. Thank you all.
A little chilly.